Hi, everybody. If you've been hanging out with me on my live streams, you've probably heard me complain about my truck. This is my truck. It's a 2009 GMC Sierra, and it's been a good truck, but it's got a lot of issues, which you've probably heard me complain about. The big one is catastrophic oil leak. So, I'm going to be pulling the motor, rebuilding the engine, and adding a whole bunch of stuff into the engine to make it better and more fun while I'm at it, and then put it all back together. The rebuilding of the engine part is hopefully going to get live streamed. The pulling of the engine part is not. I am pretty weak on the camera game at the moment, other than just the webcam I use on my computer normally. So this is a cell phone. I've got a real old handy cam up above me over there that is going to record hopefully most of this, and if I can, I'll pull out a camera and I'll wave it around when I'm doing stuff that isn't going to get caught on the handy cam. But this is going to be short, time-lapsed or sped up mostly, and then at some point I will actually have everything out ready and we will be live streaming that, hopefully. But without further ado, we're going to start tearing this thing apart. So hang on to your butts.
All right, and Kanan is from the future here, and we're gonna see if I can voice over everything that is going on. I'm recording this part way after I did any of this, so we'll see how much I remember. Right now, I'm just taking out the battery, and the battery terminal is very corroded. But we got it out, and just getting the battery clamp out of the way there. And there we go, battery's out. I will not shock myself or light anything on fire. Alright, and there goes the engine cover, and the intake is coming off. And right now, I think I'm going after some wiring. Yeah, the main wiring harness there. So I've disconnected the wires running to the fuel injectors. And looks like I'm going after some grounding points there. Capping off the breather lines, evap system, and the PCV system. And there goes a fuel line. And I'll be capping the fuel line off as well. And here now I'm going after the bolts that are holding the intake manifold on. And there goes the intake manifold. I think I'm going after a few more wires there. The oil pressure sensor is at the back of the motor there. Incredibly difficult to get to with the intake manifold in place. I don't remember why we were lowering the truck. Might have been to make it easier for me to lean over, I'm not sure. Anyways, here comes the electrical center. And something else. It's stuck. I don't remember why it was stuck. But something is really hanging on. Maybe the clips are broken and it's not actually disconnecting from the harness. I don't remember. I'm resorting to undoing more clamps and bolts everywhere. Okay, and I'm taking the wheels off. Pulled a motor before, but not in one of these trucks. I wasn't terribly focused. I was just pulling stuff apart anywhere I could get them. Here are the inner fender well covers coming out. There's wires. There's these plastic clips pushed through the top side of that cover that are holding wires. So I'll need to get that out of my way. And there I'm pulling the clips out, get the wires disconnected, and get that out of my way. Okay, change the angle again. And once again, I'm back at this electrical center trying to tackle it. And yeah, there's those big blocks of wire connectors along the bottom of the fuse panel there are supposed to be attached to the bottom of the electrical center, but they're not. So when I try to pull the fuse panel out, the wires are all coming with them instead of disconnecting like they're supposed to. So I'm resorting to pulling the entire electrical center housing apart and then going in with a screwdriver and a little bit of brute force. And there we're finally getting it off. Got that out of the way. There was a couple that were actually attached to the housing that did come off properly, and I just had to get them out of my way. Here now I'm tackling all the wiring that runs along the bottom of the motor. So down there we've got the crankshaft position sensor, an oil level sensor, as well as the wiring for my 4-wheel drive actuator on the front axle there. That's going to have to get pulled as well. And there's a few other things down there that I think the wiring for the air compressor, air conditioner, that one is down here as well. So I'm going after that at the same time. There's just tons of piddly little wires, and of course every single one of them is connected with a clip, so we have to get in and get at clips to hold everywhere every time. Oh, and now what I'm looking at here is the starter. I was going after the starter. I got it loose, but I couldn't get it out because the exhaust collector was in the way there. And then going after a front axle. I don't even know what the wiring was there that I was going after. But there's the main cross member. It's coming out of the way so that I can get the front axle out. It's very stuck, just like everything is. If you look closely, you can see just oil everywhere. The entire oil pan is shiny with oil. The sway bar, shiny with oil. And there's some oil on the front cross member there that might have been penetrating oil because it wasn't actually leaking. Or no, that was coolant. That was dripping coolant when I drained it. And the main brackets for the front axle are out, and we're slowing down here because this is almost gets dropped on me. And yes, it was very, very heavy. But it's gone, and we're back to motoring. I really do wish I could remember what all these little wires were that I was pulling out. That one I just got was the block heater. Alright, and we're back up top to get a whole bunch of wires loose. That is everything from the electrical center has all been pulled. And the ECU is over there somewhere too now, I believe. And the rest of that wire is running down to the transmission. And disconnecting coolant lines now. I wish I'd gotten a better angle of this. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. That was the serpentine belt. All right, and I might be going after the water pump here. And I have actually seen videos of people doing camshaft replacements basically at this stage where the motor is still just right there. But obviously I was doing a lot more than just a camshaft, so the whole thing had to come out. And frankly, I don't know if I would have risked trying to do a camshaft. That little bit of clearance. And yeah, I'm resorting to a pry bar. Probably not a good idea. I wouldn't recommend it. But something is stuck there, and I'm fairly certain I've got all the bolts out. I think there was a couple more hidden that I didn't find. Oh, there we go. And now I'm going after the idler pulley and the alternator. If I remember correctly, I went and looked up a YouTube video on how to pull off the water pump because I was missing a couple bolts, and there was definitely bolts hidden where I couldn't see them, and that's why it wasn't coming off. Anyways, here comes the alternator. And that's my dad talking to me in the background there. Oh, that was also the power steering pump, and I think I leave that all connected and just dangling while I pull the motor out. I don't think I ever actually disconnected the power steering lines. And I'm either going after more hoses or motor mounts here. I don't actually remember. Oh no, I'm pulling the fan shroud and the radiator, getting it out of my way. I think. I was going in with a magnet there. I think I dropped something. And there we go, radiator out. I don't know what's left along the back of the motor. Maybe this is where I'm finally going after those grounding straps. They were extremely painful. Or I'm going after something that was on the top of the transmission. Again, I don't remember. At this point, I'm taking frequent breaks from trying to wrench on this because I'm just getting frustrated. I've got maybe 2.5 inches of space between the back of the engine and the firewall. And here I'm pulling the harmonic balancer. This was a trick as well. And frankly, I don't know why that tool, the tool's doing its job, but getting it lined up and getting it to actually grip was a trick. And that big driver screw down the middle, I actually ended up stripping on this project, getting this thing off. I was very, very not happy. And there I've run out. I bottomed the screw out and I couldn't get it to pull any further. I ended up putting a smaller bolt in the hole to get that out. Now I'm uncrating the engine hoist. And yes, I'm reading the instructions. Don't judge me too harshly. Don't judge me too harshly. We end up having a little bit of trouble with this thing as well. The instructions aren't the clearest. And we'll get to that part in a minute. Once we get the uprights on, there's these steel straps that we're going to see. And the instructions are not clear where exactly the straps go, so we're basing it entirely off of the product picture. And getting it to bolt together was just painful. Yeah, these right here. They're pre-bent and the angle is just a little bit wrong. They're gonna go on and off a couple times here. And we resorted to a big impact gun and just rattled it on. And the straps come off again because they're in the way of the bracket for the handle. Of course they are. All right, getting my leveling plate set up here, and we're going to start actually trying to pull the motor. And of course the hood is in the way, so we're unbolting it. And there she comes. Of course, as we start pulling it, we're finding more and more things that are still connected. And then we discover right about here that the hoist can't go any higher. So we're going to lower the truck instead. And of course, as we're lowering the truck, it's coming forward, which is just making everything more difficult, because I don't have a lot of space behind that hoist. And there we go. Getting the flex plate off and taking a look at the rear main seal that I had suspected was the culprit of all of my woes. And there you have it. So that was 2 years ago to the day that this video is going up. A lot's happened since then. I'm, if you didn't notice, no longer streaming on Twitch. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to put out video that I made and then never published. Obviously, people watching on Twitch saw it, but I was just having so many problems with the recordings that I wasn't able to get them uploaded to YouTube at that time. And then life happened, and they sat on the back burner for a long time. But this seems like a good opportunity to do it. So I'll be uploading my streams from now until the end of December, as they were 2 years ago when I was streaming them. I'm not going to give you any spoilers about how the whole project went, in case you didn't see it at that time. But yeah, I'm going to start each video with a little disclaimer saying, hey, this isn't actually happening at that time, but you know, it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this serves as a bit of a good introduction to what's going to happen. And I hope you stick around and watch the whole process of me tearing apart this motor, putting it back together, putting it back in the truck, and getting it running. I will see you later.
There's still something plugged in, that's why. Where did I put... Oh, I just rammed my knee into that. Ow.